All right, we are here with Amberleigh of Peter Block Wine Company and Eatery, and we are featuring Spring Valley Vineyard, doing a virtual wine tasting with Derby Raymond and Serge Laville. And I'm Laura Duffy with Chateau Ste. Michelle, and we're thrilled that you can be here on this lovely day, and we're just going to taste a little wine and geek out all together. So without further ado, we've got Kate and Serge here. What two wines are we going to be tasting today?
We are going to be tasting our 2013 Catherine Corcoran, which is our Cabernet Franc. And we'll taste this one first. And the second one we will taste is the 2013 9 Elite Syrah.
And just for all the wine club members that got these two bottles this month, it is recommended that you open it an hour before. You don't have to decant it, just open it, let it sit, smell it, make sure it's not corked. And yeah, it's at its peak. That's what you had said, right, Serge?
I would, if possible, an hour earlier, even more. I think I opened actually those bottles this morning, late morning, so it's been almost 3 hours. It all depends how old the vintage is. This is 13, this is not very old, but still, the wine breathing is going to, benefit from opening a little bit earlier. When I say opening, you open it, you give a little taste, you put back the cork, and then you can wait, hours before you taste it.
Smells amazing.
I will say on a way older vintage, you have to be careful. The wine, once you open the cork, is going to oxidize very fast. Now 13, you have time to drink it.
Makes sense.
So just as we're starting to sip these wines and enjoy them all together, do you two mind sharing just a little bit of the history of Spring Valley and the Walla Walla Wine Valley itself as well? That'd be great.
Yeah, definitely. And we both can speak to it, but the history of Spring Valley itself is the land has been in my family since the late 1800s. And originally wheat farmers, and we still do farm the wheat as well as we do grapes. And we added the grapes in 1993. We had the water. You have to have water out here in order to grow the grapes because it's dry. And my grandpa wanted to diversify, and he said, why are my grandkids going to want to keep this in the family? Wheat, commodity crop, prices up and down. What else can we add to it in order for them to say, no, we're gonna keep this for this many more generations and keep handing it down? And so added the grapes, and we added between 93 and kind of 99 a handful of grapes, and we're selling to local wineries, getting really high acclaim for the wine that they were making with them. And so we decided, hey, let's try to make wine and see what happens. So that's what we did. And all the labels were 2 of them today, but all of our labels are family members on the label, like the Catherine Corcoran. This is my great grandma, and this is actually who I was named after.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and then the 9 Elite was Catherine's daughter-in-law. She had married Frederick, and that's one of her promotional photos. She danced with vaudeville when they would come to Walla Walla. That's a promotional photo on the label of hers. And we were the 12th winery here in 1999, and now there's a lot of wineries. Serge,
how many are there now?
Over 160.
My goodness.
Yeah. But Serge joined my Uncle Devin in 2000 was your first trip out here to Walla Walla, and then full time in Walla Walla in 2002.
And I just have to say that having a French winemaker in Walla Walla, And you do an incredible job. I just want to tell a quick story real quick. My grandparents had their 60th wedding anniversary, and that was probably about, I think, 7 years ago now. And I bought a bottle of Uriah, in fact, which is what your name is there. And I took them to a restaurant here in Whatcom County called Nimbus, which was on the top of the highest building in Bellingham. Gorgeous sweeping views of the Pacific Northwest. And I do not remember what we ate at all. I remember the conversation, and I remember the wine, and I remember they were both blown away. And it was at that moment that I fell in love with Spring Valley Vineyards. And I've been, I bring it on to any wine list that I ever create. I'm so excited to be here right now and talking to you guys. I love, Nina is my most favorite label of all time. Absolutely. It's beautiful. And then the wine inside,
yeah. Well, thank you. It's a good wine. One of my favorite stories of the Nina, upstairs in this tasting room, we have posters of the labels. And my favorite thing to do in the tasting room was you get a group of guys tasting wine, probably after golfing or something, and like getting them to all stand in their group and do the Nina pose. That's memories of, like, because they obviously would love the photo and the label as well. And so it was always a fun ending to their tasting.
I love it. I think by the end of this, we should definitely all pose in Nina once we're tasting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this wine, Serge. This is Cabernet Franc, which is, and I've told my wine club members multiple times, my favorite story about Cabernet Franc is that it fell in love with Sauvignon Blanc, and they had a baby, and that became Cabernet Sauvignon. And it's usually a blending grape, but it stands on its own so beautifully. Tell us about this wine and what your intent was when you made it.
Well, Cabernet Franc, I mean, you know, Spring Valley is a great terroir to begin with. It's amazing. Almost any varietal that have been planted over there are doing very well. Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Syrah, Malbec. But if there is one varietal that's doing 100% good every year, no matter how the vintage is, you know, cold or warm or extremely hot, Cabernet Franc is always going to succeed. So it's almost the pillar of Spring Valley, I would say, is Cabernet Franc. You know, it's just, we blend it a lot in the Frederick and the Uriah. We didn't have enough before 2007 because they were mostly, this varietal was blended. And then we decided to plant a lot more in 2007 and come with this label. And it's definitely one of my favorite wine. Actually, those two wines today are some of my favorite wine, actually. The ladies, I would say.
Think alike.
Really fine wine. But so this Cabernet Franc is made. I don't know if you've been in the Loire Valley in France, but there's this region which is called Chinon. It's 100% Cabernet Franc. It's lovely. The problem in the Loire Valley is on cool vintage, they cannot get the grapes ripe enough. So it's not consistent. You know, you have the great vintage of Chinon and you have the really weak vintage of Chinon where it's not ripe enough. Now at Spring Valley, even on a cool vintage like 2011, we succeed with our Cabernet Franc. It's definitely it's our king varietal. A lot of people think we are crazy because it's like, whoa, no, Merlot Cabernet Sauvignon is the king. Well, no, I mean, so it depends where you are. What we know is after 20 years of, growing, 25 years of growing grapes and making wine, we know that Cabernet Franc is definitely safe to plant and is going to be consistent even in very difficult conditions. So that's important to know. Now, this particular vintage, 2013, is very interesting because it was a relatively stressful year for us.
Yeah.
to suddenly we had actually a lot more grapes in the vineyard because the planting of 2007 is becoming, at full production, and we have to bring some new fermenter, and we have to expand. Each time you expand your winery, there is definitely some challenge. So what we remember, you like stories, so what we remember from 2013, definitely September was stressful. Harvest came earlier than we thought, and we had to jam pack a lot of work in a few weeks, and we had to ferment in some new fermenters that we just received a month larger. Yeah. And but we did great. I think the wine is great. What the vintage 13 in general, I will say, is very soft, very smooth.
Very soft. It's beautiful.
All the wines from the line of 2013, the tannin are exceptionally soft. That's signature of the vineyard. The wine are not the biggest, but that's not always the point, especially when you want to enjoy your wine with food,
Yeah.
you want the balance between wine and food. Same time, I must say, I just sipping on this wine, I can almost finish the bottle.
I was gonna say this is great without food. Also, it is.
Is this the only single varietal wine that you make?
No,
I mean,
and they're most tasting room only, but open for anybody that's interested. We do actually all of the varieties that we have planted. We'll do singles. So we do this Cab Franc, the Syrah. Do 100% Cab Sauv, which is Derby. We do 100% Petit Verdot, which is our Shirley, and we do 100% Merlot, Mule Skinner.
I feel like that's so uncommon now today. There's just a lot of blending, which is wonderful, but seeing the varietal in such a pure form is really fantastic because you get to see what the vintage gave you, and I love it. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, no, and what you just said, that you get to see what the vintage gave you, and that's really, how we make wine. We don't, it's September 7th, and so we need to pick this block this day. It's every year is different. It's the picking decisions are going to be different. What you pick when is going to be different, and how you ferment it. It's different every year, and we let that vintage that year tell us what it wants to do. We have a great, like Serge was talking about, we have a superior grape in the vineyard, so why should we screw it up? We just need to help it along the way and do what it wants to be done with.
That makes sense. So how do you two work together? Are you just like, so you're from the family and you're from France, and obviously you do a beautiful product, and what is the relationship like between you two and working together? And do you ever like butt heads and go, no, we should pick now, or we need more Viognier, or,
Have your separate timeout corners.
Yeah. No, and I've known Serge, obviously, majority of my life, and I'll let him speak next. So we can both give our opinions. We work really well together. Serge is a great boss. He is open to ideas. He comes with ideas. If you have a question, he'll sit and explain it to you, why you do what you do. This 2020 vintage will be my 10th vintage working with him full time at the winery. So Serge is our winemaker. I'm an assistant winemaker, and then most people know me as the granddaughter, is what they call me. Because
yeah.
But it's a great working relationship. We're very open and like able to talk about different, if I taste something and think something different, then we talk about it and kind of get through it. Serge, I'll let you.
For me, to make a great wine, you need three things. a great fruit, so that's a vineyard. You need a great facility with the right tool. And mostly you need the great people. If you miss one of those, it's going to be hard to make a great wine. And to force a team and you need to leave freedom to the people, basically. You can't not be the only authority and dictate everything. It's important to leave your employees some imagination and freedom and freedom to organize their day of work like they want, as long as at the end of the month or the end of the day they reach their goal of performance and doing the right thing for the wine. That's the most important thing. In the wine industry, I think there is two kinds of wine industry. There is a small boutique winery like us where, you know, there's probably more freedom. There's probably still discipline. It's important, but there is not. We are not making wine, 8 to 5 p.m. every day, and it's almost boring and it's almost slavery. No, we do. I like my team to come with ambition and creativity, and especially during harvest. And I think the people who've been working with me, as far as intern or full time, I don't think anybody is going to say, "Oh, Serge is a terrible boss." I'd be surprised. It's very important to create a good energy in the team to actually forge those wines.
Well, I definitely think that it shows in your wines, absolutely. And this, what notes are y'all getting on this? I definitely have the earthy pine and some vegetables, but there's definitely some nice dark fruits as well, although muted, which is nice. Like you said, it's very soft. I need another splash.
Nice cocoa, or maybe a little bit of maybe a little bit of cola, but not like in a Cab Sauv way, just a little bit more like earthy.
Yeah, like a Dr. Pepper instead of a Coke.
Soda, yeah, maybe like Dr. Pepper.
The earthy part, for me, is a characteristic on all of our wines, but
there's some herbal notes, earthiness, a little bit of tobacco, light tobacco,
little pepper,
cigar box, spicy. I mean, it's a complex wine.
Oh yeah, lots going on.
It's very complex. It's this vintage, as the texture is very refined too. I mean, those are very refined, fine-grained tannin. Very delicate wine. It's not big, but it's so lovely.
And so if I could genie poof a dinner in front of you right now to have with this wine, what would it be?
You can't go too big. I will go chicken, beef, eventually. Not too spicy, because then you're gonna kill the wine.
I think there's a lot of versatility with this, almost as though it could take or play a little bit more with some of the sauces. Like if you're doing like a compote or something that has a bit of a fruit reduction drizzled on top, like a pork tenderloin that has that beautiful drizzle of a reduction. Anything with a little bit of fruit that's just going to elevate the beautiful primary fruit flavors of this wine, in addition to just kind of coming underneath with some of those beautiful tertiary flavors.
I agree. And randomly, you might not believe this, but I would love some chimichurri with this. That would go really, really well right now. I mean, it might be the weather and the sun, but
I think the herbaceousness of the chimichurri could work.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fun to the different winemaker dinners we do and travel, and then just at home, what we've done, the diversity of things that you could pair with it and have this
Absolutely
come out is it's pretty fun to see, and fun to get others' opinions too, because everyone's palate is different and you never get the exact same thing from person to person, and so it gets your imagination going. Like, oh, we should do that, try that.
They're the most special nights, winemaker dinners, and I would love to actually have both of you if we can in the future when it's all safe.
We start transitioning over to Nina Lee and
Nina. I said Nina for years, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I've been saying it wrong. It's Nina.
Sorry, so I've got a friend named Nina. But so there's a couple really beautiful photos just of the property in the background. Do you guys mind talking just a little bit about the property while we're pouring the Nina Lee into our cup?
Yeah, absolutely. So this area actually, the photos that are being shown right now in the background, that is what we call the garden at Spring Valley, and all of the tours that we do at the ranch, we'll start you at the winery, and whatever we're doing, whether we're in the middle of harvest, whether we're bottling, whether we're racking, whether we're just doing paperwork, we meet you at the winery, and the tasting room staff does taste you through a few wines there. We show you our barrel room, and then we walk you down to this area. And this garden, actually as a kid, I'll throw back here. As a kid, this area was a muddy mess, and it was the coolest place to go because these trees, you can't see it that much in the picture, but they intertwine each other. And I mean, we would just dig, we would find the coolest old tools, horseshoes, you name it. And it served its purpose when we were little. But as the winery grew and people wanted to come out to the ranch more and see the property, my grandfather said, hey, maybe we need to make it look a little better and use this area. So we have built it up a little bit, and there's a little waterfall going through it with the pond there. And there's shade, it's comfortable, it is the most relaxing place.
It is such an oasis because you can see in the background you've got all that beautiful wheat, like it's very arid, and then it appears out of nowhere. It's such a delight. And Serge, do you mind sharing your moose story?
About your moose, when you saw the moose.
Oh, the moose! Oh my God! How do you know that?
I think it was when she was there. I think it was a few weeks before she was there.
That was 2018.
Yeah.
2018. Oh yeah, that was 2018. I had one of my best friend daughter come here to learn English, to stay a month with us. Somebody I know for a long time in France. So one of our daughters is like 20 years old, something like that, and she comes here and I say, hey, let's go. I'm going to show you Spring Valley. It was, I don't remember what day, probably a weekend, because there was nobody. But so we go to the vineyard. I show her the winery, the barrel. We do a little tasting, and then we come back. We are in the vineyard pickup truck. We come back from the old block of Merlot, and we go in the garden, and I see an animal in the pond. I said, what is that? It's a horse, whatever, swimming.
Not a duck.
We park and we see this creature that looks like a horse, but it's not a horse. Swimming and then getting out of the pond, or shaking, and it's not a horse, it's not a donkey, it's something I've never seen in my life. Sorry, I don't know all the animals on earth, so, and seems interesting. So we go close to her, and she, I think, I say he or she, I don't know, is not too scared, and suddenly, see, this animal starts to charge us. Now, what's famous is my wife, who likes to go in the wildlife. She used to to hike in the mountain a lot. She told me one day, if you see a bear in the mountain, you have to be bigger than him. Say, "Ah!" And that's what I did. And then this moose, actually, because there was a moose, just stopped. And then we slowly went back in the truck and went. But yeah, you know, I'm glad because I know the best story, and otherwise maybe we'll be dead. I don't know. Oh, maybe not the same.
So it worked. Being big and loud worked with the moose?
I just can't believe that thing was swimming.
No, suddenly you yell and you get bigger than, and suddenly they are scared, you know. And I'm not sure if it works with the bear, but.
So that's a good tip to anybody that wants to come visit Spring Valley. If you see a moose, just make sure you're bigger than it.
So that was a female moose, so we know the horse. So that's why I was confused. I thought, what, you know? And now I know what it is. So I actually have a video on my phone. I can send if people want to see it.
That's awesome. So I wanted to know about, did you put any Viognier? Because I could not find a spec sheet. I searched and searched for a spec sheet on the 2013. I could find 2012 and 16, but nothing for the 13. And I want to know, is there any Viognier in this?
No.
No Viognier.
No Viognier in this one.
Okay, 100% Syrah.
This is 100% Syrah.
Okay. But the 16 you put Viognier in. I'd love, this is another favorite story of mine as far as wine goes, as a sommelier on the floor, talking to people. I love the trick question, how do you make a Syrah darker? And you put in some Viognier and just a little bit. And so talk to me about why you would do that and why you didn't with this vintage and then you have in recent years.
Syrah's kind of Serge's specialty. I'm trying to take up Malbec, a few others, but for the quick bit for me is we had just started planting a larger amount in 2013, so that's why it's not here. We were just playing around with actually trying to make a Viognier. But I'll let Serge talk about the rest of it because it's his expertise, definitely.
Well, I mean, the Viognier actually is the first plantation of Viognier dates from 2008. It's only half an acre. And then we planted more in 2013, an additional acre. And the goal was, there was two goals actually, to plant in Viognier. Co-fermenting and make a white too. Make a white, small quantity available through the tasting room or online right now, but maybe someday a larger amount. But mostly, the co-fermentation of Viognier and Syrah is ancestral. You know, you go in France in the Northern Rhone, in a Condrieu or Côte-Rôtie, and it's historical. Does it make better wine? I don't know. I think it's fun to do it. I think it's important to try to co-ferment some of your. If the same day you have your Syrah and your Viognier ripe, perfect at the same time, yes, blend them together and see co-ferment and see what it can do. Does it work? Not always. You know, we do. You know, this 9 is a blend probably of 5 or 6 different blocks. And
different fermenters.
And different fermenters. But we always, when we see opportunity to co-ferment Viognier and Syrah together, we do it. Just because it was done for 100 years in the Rhone Valley, and hey, why not? You know, not that anybody can invent anything else. You know, nowadays it's not. You know, people apparently in Argentina are co-fermenting Malbec and Cabernet Franc.
Yeah.
She knows more than me about that. But it doesn't always work. What we know is co-fermenting might make a better wine. Blending doesn't work. You blend Viognier and Syrah together. Yeah. It's terrible. I mean, it's like, no, it doesn't work. And we try, you know, the same blocks, the same date, you know, co-fermentation separate fermentation than blending, and it's like, oh, it's awful. You know? So, but co-fermentation, what the goal of co-fermentation is mostly to bring more aromatic to the wine, in my opinion. And yes, like you said, you don't lose any color. You might even gain color. The chemical explanation, don't ask me. You know, even
right.
Yeah.
even you know, I'm not. Even I have a chemistry background. It's not important to me. What's important to me is doing it, smelling it, looking at it, testing it, and see it does a better wine.
Well, whatever you guys did with this wine, I will tell you 100% of the time that I have served this wine, that I have tasted this wine, blown away. People love it. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful wine. And I'm curious to know how it'll taste in about 10 years too, because it's showing beautifully right now. It's still got some great tannin structure, but it's got the roundness, and it's I don't know. Cheers again. I'm giddy.
This is definitely, I mean, it's been a month ago or so we were talking about it, and he's like, have you tasted that 2013 Nina recently? And I've had people text me saying, we just opened this 2013. It is tasting phenomenal right now, and I can't believe it. And it's like you said, I mean, it's got years left, and it's really fun to follow the wines like that. And it's
Absolutely.
yeah.
I have, and I won't name names, but I have a wine club member that I was stuck in quarantine for 2 weeks because of a scare. And they offered to drop off some provisions. And I said, well, only if I can trade you for a bottle of wine. And of course, I go down into my cellar of, not mine, but the restaurant cellar. And this is what I picked. And she texted later that evening because she had opened it up and let it breathe and was drinking it. And she says, this is effing fantastic. Like, I'm melting right now. And it was really cool because, and yes, she did bring me TP and chocolate, which was really nice.
Hand sanitizer?
No! It was sold out at that time, but.
But you got the toilet paper.
Exactly. But no, she even dropped the F-bomb. It was adorable because it was just that good. Like
that's cool. That's good.
So time, why don't we run through and do some tasting notes on this wine, because I know we've gone a little bit over our time frame here, but
this is just too fun.
awesome. Thank you.
Do it more often.
Yes, please.
Probably will be.
What are you doing tomorrow?
What time? Yeah, tasting notes.
Walla Walla has so many styles of Syrah. Well, Washington State, but Walla Walla in particular just has so many different styles of Syrah coming out of it. I'm blown away by how like the velvety richness of this, and just like that really restrained, beautiful fruit is in balance with earth. It doesn't quite go that like olive bacon route that can be beautiful in its own right.
California.
Why is this Syrah so different than like that like olive bacon style of Syrah? Is that just terroir? Is that winemaking style?
Well, you know, you have Spring Valley, first of all, is a unique terroir. High elevation. So you got actually Syrah at Spring Valley surprisingly gets ripe early, very early, like early September, mid-September, Syrah is ready to pick. And most of the valley is not. I don't know why. I can't really explain. We tend to pick our Syrah as early as we can, so it's not jammy and too syrupy, and then you have to add so much oak that the wine is going to be like too big to be enjoyable, in my opinion. So we try to pick our Syrah not too ripe, and we try to age it in not too much new oak, about 20-25% new oak. more non-punchal, meaning the 500-liter barrel are used since I think 2016 now.
French?
It's all French oak. It's all French oak. All our wine are French oak.
Cheers.
20 to 50% new oak. We start to experiment with 500-liter barrel instead of 225-liter in 2016. This is what we buy the most right now. Actually, we love them. You have to be careful. Some varietal doesn't work always with that, but especially Cabernet Sauvignon. But Syrah, Cabernet Franc, bigger barrel, less oak surface per volume, makes the wine less oaky. I mean, you have still, it's important to age your wine in a barrel, in an oak barrel. That's something we're always going to do. It's not going to change. You are not going to go to cheap oak chips or oak dust. No, but at the same time, to be smart, to buy, to use the right amount without spending too much money, and so you can keep the wine at a retail price, quality price affordable. It's important. You don't need, actually, Syrah is one of the varietals. You don't need that much new oak. I think some lot of Syrah we age with 0% new oak or 10% new oak, very little, and we use a lot of barrels that are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, and that's the style of the Nine-Alley. The Nine-Alley is the wine, as Primavera has been changing a lot in 20 years. The first vintage was 2000. This is the wine we changed the most, because you have to, things change. I mean, volume, yeah. And there's a lot of different, like you say, a lot of different Syrah in Walla Walla, the Rock District, or Seven Hills, or the south of town, or Spring Valley is very different. It's hard to explain. I think our Syrah is unique. I mean, I know a lot of people like it because it's, I don't know what to say. We are here to make sure this style is intact, and myself, I tell you, when I drink a Syrah, it can't be light. If it's too light, it doesn't work. It can't be too big. Too big, no food is going to match it. I see a lot of Syrah on the market all over the world that are so huge and bright. They don't sound so oaky, and they don't match any food. They don't work with my palate. Let's say, So we create this. I mean, this Syrah is a little lighter than probably most of the Walla Walla Syrah, but seems like we have a good the consumer. I mean, people like what we do.
It's such a delight, Amberleigh. I'm sure you can agree. It doesn't like scream, I need food, or I'm just not going to be beautiful. It's beautiful unto its own right. Now, what would be a great option for the folks that are buying this wine? What do we recommend that they pair it with, besides friends and a patio and sunshine? Just like hamburgers, or I mean, I feel like it doesn't always have to be red meat with.
I was going to say I would love a bite of blueberry cobbler. And I happened to say that because I had some last weekend with my mommy. But this would go really good with blueberry. There's definitely a blue and black fruit component to it that I feel would really elevate that food. Meat-wise, I mean, it's not big enough to overwhelm a lamb even.
Done lollipops with this before, or I think that would be.
This one, I like a lot of Syrah actually works very well with lamb.
Yeah.
I love lamb actually. We both love. Actually, we buy whole lamb from the same farmer every year. The whole lamb. So and this one works very well with a lamb roast, lamb chop. Make it simple. Don't go crazy with too much, sauce and blah blah. No, make. My favorite recipe for lamb roast is herb de Provence, olive oil. You wrap everything. You let simmer, you let that in the fridge for a day, a little bit of salt, put that in the barbecue or in the oven, whatever, it doesn't matter. Make a slow roast, 3 hours at 200 to 250 degrees until it's 100 in the middle of the roast is 140, 145 max.
Yeah.
And then cover it with aluminum foil, let it rest almost an hour. So all the juice goes down, and then you collect the juice, and eventually you can make little cognac sauce or even white wine sauce, and then that's it. A little bit of mashed potato on the side, and on with that.
Then we will all be joining with Nina at Serge's house after this call over for dinner.
I know. I was like, I should have been taking notes. So how many?
Yeah. And 1, 2, 3, I'm hungry. Beautiful, beautiful wine. I'm excited to try the next vintages as well. And another thing I'd like to point out, I already said how much I love this label, but this here, is this not the deepest that you've ever, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is the deepest. And we have people that will, in their wine shelf, they will make their special shelf for Nina because it doesn't always fit on the regular side.
It is a hearty bottle.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say that I appreciate all of you coming together and spending your time and answering questions and just having a glass of wine. And I look forward to the future and sharing your beautiful wine with everyone, and maybe someday visiting, and definitely a winemaker dinner.
I feel like our last hurrah here has to be taking the Ninely photo. I don't know if everyone's down, but
Definitely.
Yeah.
Serge, Kate are.
Is there any way to make it so it's just us?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see this. Let's see this picture.
Here you go.
All right. All right.
Oh, it's lovely. I'm gonna do it. Here, I'll be right in.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
She's not smiling too much though.
Yeah, be a little smug. Is everyone ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you all so much. This was wonderful. This may be how we meet for a little while more in 2020, but yeah, I'm really, really pleased we were able to do this for sure. This is fantastic.
So nice to meet both of you and see you again, Serge. And thank you so much, Laura, for putting this on. And
Absolutely. Thank you. And enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
too.
Guys, this has been great.
Thank you. Cheers.